Hi, Ram.
Hi.
Thank you for coming to my office today. I wanted to sit down and talk to you about our meeting that we're going to have with the group tomorrow
Right.
so that you feel comfortable. I'm actually meeting with each of the participants, and anything that we talk about will remain confidential between yourself and myself.
Right.
So, as you know, we've been having a little bit of conflict in the group, in the project management group for the instructional design team. And it seems that the process is going round in circles. So I have sat down and defined what the major problem is, our business problem, and that's what I want to stick with. And it's
Okay.
how can we cooperate to meet our team and client expectations?
Okay.
Again, so how do you feel about that definition of what our problem is?
Again, the problem is basically what is your goal? Defining that
Mm-hmm.
and having everybody on message. If you're going to develop tools, then everybody has to agree on what those tools are and have multiple messages.
Absolutely. So, all the parties involved in this group, the five of you, the five in the group, need to be involved in this process. And each of you has to agree to sit down and discuss this as a group tomorrow. So, the first thing I want to talk to you about is I want to find out what I would like you, if you can, to define what your interests are in this group, or what are your interests in producing these tools for the project management.
To develop the tools, that would be my interest to move forward in that so that we can get the problems resolved and a solution to the completion of the project. If we're stuck on just communicating theory or not getting into the depth of the problem, then we're just going to be stuck on the surface of the water and we'll never get underneath.
So what I'm hearing from you is that because the group is stuck on theory, that they're not getting past that concept in order to produce the tools needed for the overall group.
Right.
Okay. So for a moment, let's brainstorm some ideas. And tomorrow, when we come into the whole group, I will list these ideas that each of the individuals have come up with on a blackboard, and we will discuss them and come up with the best possible choices, and then hopefully all come to a consensus. We won't end the meeting until all of you have agreed upon a way of resolving this problem. So let's brainstorm some options. What do you think would be some options that we can use to get past the theory and move on to creating the tools? So the problem again is, how can we cooperate to meet our team and client expectations? So what are some ways that the group can cooperate to do this?
Force them to give us the ideas that they have, if they have any, and that is less verbalization and more written communication. And once those ideas are put on paper, we can actually see what our ideas are, if we have any, and share them.
So let me restate and correct me, and let me know, that I'm restating this correct. So maybe possible less discussion over the theories
And
and
more actual writing of the ideas, if you have any. And if there's stuff on the actual ideas, well, then we're really going to be stuck. But they had no ideas to begin with.
so more writing of the ideas. So what are some ways that the group can get to more writing of the ideas?
Actually, get a piece of paper, put it on a table, and have a writing utensil in hand, and actually start writing. It's like an essay. When you have an essay to write, it's the beginning that's the most difficult. But once you get started, a rhythm and a beat starts to develop, and then from there you can continue on.
So possibly having each person separately write down their ideas, and maybe what we're doing here separately in these caucuses, maybe the group each write down some of their ideas and then share them.
Share them, or they can share it with the mediator, and then have the mediator share the ideas of the entire group if they feel that there's some personal animus between members.
Okay. Maybe a good way of doing that also that the group or yourself can think about is, writing these ideas on paper, sharing them without initial feedback.
Right, or share them either with whoever's in the room, as you mentioned, or with the mediator one-on-one where there's no personal relationship. Because that's where the emotions start to build up.
Okay, exactly. Maybe as the group, is in the group setting and they start talking about their own interests. And that's part of the agreement that you and the group will have to come up with is what do you do in a circumstance like that so you can get beyond the theory and move on to being able to cooperate with one another to meet the expectations of the team and the client. So,
and that's developing an environment where the individuals are forced to communicate their ideas, and if they're not pushed, then they'll just stay where they are.
So you brought up a good point, developing an environment. So a safe environment, right? In order to be able to discuss ways to cooperate, to create these tools, but not having to worry about
backlash, or revenge, or what have you.
Okay, so let me go ahead and restate what you've said, that less verbalization, more written. So we'll give the idea tomorrow that maybe we set down a pen and paper for each individual and they write down their idea of how best to cooperate, right? Or once it gets to the actual creating of the tools, they write down their ideas. And maybe brainstorming tomorrow how to create an environment where you're not having to worry about backlash. And those would be pretty much the ground rules for your meetings going forth when I'm gone from this process and your group has established the way you're going to go about cooperating with one another so you're able to work with one another.
And that's where the use of objects comes into place, where you can place a book between two individuals or three individuals or what have you, so that there's no visual contact between the parties. So if you're no longer in the process, the individuals can still continue the process in that way.
Well, that's a good idea. So we can go ahead and put that on the board tomorrow. And again, what you and I have discussed today will remain confidential. And any of your ideas that you've expressed will just be given as ideas as a group that everyone has given so that you're not targeted or anything. And we'll vote on which ideas are the best. So a book between two parties might be a good visual cue.
Visual echo prevention is where we're trying to avoid eye contact is the specific tool there that we're trying to activate.
Okay, Ram. Well, thank you for meeting with me again today, and I look forward to meeting with the group tomorrow to brainstorm and discuss your interests and everyone else's ideas on how your group can cooperate in working together. So
Very well.
you have a good rest of your afternoon.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.